Hello, everyone. Welcome to Our Lives After, a TTJRPG campaign featuring Fabula Ultima. You are watching episode 2 of our 6-episode limited series.
Thank you so much to our sponsors, Blackbird Revolt, Chepeku, Hero Forge, Storyteller's Nest, Tom Cardos, and Weird Works. We'll have more information about our sponsors during our scheduled break.
And thank you to Alexander Nakarada, Dusan, Emma Panada, Epidemic Sound, Jay Stratman, Jiraiya, Murgles, and the Lady May. These folks helped make this very special.
We will have our content warnings up in just a moment. As a gentle reminder to please take care of yourselves, and if the show becomes too much, we encourage you to step away for a moment and make sure you'll be okay.
And per usual, let's go around the table and introduce everyone. Please tell me who you are and who you're playing today. Let's start with Emma.
Hi, it's me, Emma, also known as Emma Panada. You can find me at Emma Panada on places. I don't have a character. I play the world, and the world has various different pronouns. And we're going to learn a fun new system about how you learn people's pronouns in this game this session. So please look forward to it. Drek.
Hi, I'm Draco Draconics. I use he, they pronouns. I'm going to be playing Adana Marseille, who uses any and all pronouns, really. I'm going to pass it on over to Alex.
Hey everybody, my name's Alex, he, him pronouns. I am playing Loveless, your fearless captain, and he also uses he, him pronouns. And I'll pass it over to Liv.
Hi everyone, I'm Liv. I use she, they pronouns, and I am playing Cielo, who uses she, her pronouns. And now it's over to my sibling in Wings, Piper.
Everyone, my name is Piper. I use they, them pronouns, and today I am playing Sinclair, who uses he, they pronouns. And I'm going to pass it on back to Stella.
Hello, I'm Stella Luna. Today I'll be playing Viscera, and we both use she, they pronouns. Alex, would you like to give us a recap of last time?
Let's go. Last time on Our Lives After, we were met with a selection of individuals in the world that we know, from all the way in what is supposedly Japan for the game company of Theta Gauntlet, meeting one Vissa and one Adana, then all the way to that of Ryan and Jimena and Oliver. And as their lives kind of unwound and unfolded, they all unfortunately met an untimely, or maybe destined demise. And as they all passed on in their own different ways, whether by train or by drowning, lightning, fright, or toilet seat, they all ended up in a spectral realm of sorts, met by a maybe god of some form that basically told them that, hey, you're meeting up with your guild members from back in the day, and you're saving the world. And so, banished for 5 years, Oliver, in anger, dissipated from the group, as the others, as one, woke up along a mountainside in the cold, and were introduced to a new character, known as Loveless, who says that his name is Oliver, and as the rest begin to unfold and learn of their new lives, or literally their lives after, we meet a bunch of different animals, creations, and we're about to go on an adventure. And I feel like I'm a little rambly now, so I'm going to pass it back on to Emma.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alex. If any of our live viewers in chat want to interact with our game, you can use the command exclamation point surge in chat for more information on how you can do that. We hope you enjoy the show.
Show me all your tricks, I'll love to
Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, death, regret, vengeance, stress, complicated relationships, grief, loss of loved ones, betrayal, and isolation.
The journey down the lonely peak has been short but exhausting. Cold winds have continued to send chills down your spine despite the furs and coats Lovelace brought for you. The scenery below appears to almost shine in the sun as grassy plains and hills stretch out into the distance. A forest lies to the east alongside a mountain range that blocks your view beyond. To the west, you can see the plains stretch further until they meet beaches and an ocean as blue as you've ever seen. A small village rests between a spattering of trees and between the peak you're currently on and the forest to the east. The signs of another village can be spotted to the west, far in the distance along the water. Some of you may have climbed mountains before, and while you know that climbing up a mountain is the most physically strenuous, you also know that climbing down is the most dangerous. Loose gravel has slid out from under you numerous times, causing you to stumble and almost fall. As you've climbed, you have a long list of questions running through your mind. Where are we? What are we supposed to do next? What were those obelisks we woke up from? Each time one of you has a question, Lovelace has urged you to focus on making it down the mountain first. Once you're all safe, you can ask your questions. What do you feel each of you's kind of like largest question about what's going on right now is as you're kind of traveling down this peak, heading to the grassy knolls below you? What is reverberating through your mind that you most desperately want to know about? Let's start with Lovelace. As you finally kind of reconnected with all of these people, are there any questions or any topics that are burning inside of you that you feel like you want to talk to them about?
Honestly, sorry about that. Honestly, Lovelace is really like what you just said, is concerned about their safety. In the back of his mind, he has been in this world for 5 years, and a lot of it has not been great. In full transparency, and meta knowledge, and I think he is waiting for them to kind of reach that point in which he had reached at one point, where the kind of frustration, confusion all kind of settles in, and so he's very tactile in terms of just making sure, as you said, everybody gets down, tries his best to make everybody feel comfortable, whether it's with like warm food, water, extra like clothes, etc., and just wants to make sure that they get to the bottom before anyone starts to have issues.
Absolutely. Love it.
He's
So you're
very
kind of
responsive.
dispersing, yeah, more snacks, more blankets and things just to help people with the weather. And you're trying to take kind of like that caretaker role as everybody is still acclimating to this situation. Sinclair, what do you feel is really going through your mind as we're kind of strolling down this peak?
I think right now what's going through Sinclair's mind is this real in a way? Is like, are we dreaming? Is this kind of a reality? It's everything just seems so fantastical, so new, so exciting, but so terrifying at the same time. And I think it's just trying to, very much like how Lovelace was before, the kind of 5 years, just trying to see, it's like, are we here? Like, is this real? Are we really here to stay? And I think there's a lot of tactileness to how Sinclair interacts with the environment, kind of touching the rocks, just kind of making sure, touching the grass, the snow, everything as you kind of go down the hill, and really just trying to acclimate and enjoy this kind of body that he's finally felt really comfortable in a way. So disbelief, but excitement.
Love it, love it. How about let's go over to Liv. What do you feel like Jimena is feeling or thinking about right now?
Goodness gracious. I mean, there is this sort of I feel like there is this sort of unbridled joy as well of like, holy shit, it's I never thought this would happen to me. No, but like this energy of like, wow, is this real? Like this looks fantastical, like taking in all of this as well. But at the same time, like she lets herself have 5 fantastical thoughts before she's like, this is terrible. We don't know where we are. We don't know what happened. You died. That's the only thing that you do know that happened. And now you're here in this new world that can't be good. And it's just like this cycle of every time she thinks of something fantastical, it's like, are there social security numbers here? Do I need to find a W-2? Do I need to pay rent? Did anybody pay my rent before? What happens here? And then I'm like, oh wait, no, there's something amazing and fantastical. So it's like I'm oscillating between those 2 thoughts.
That's incredible. I love that. I never thought about, do social security numbers exist in this world? That's something I need to think about now. So great.
God,
Thank
I
you.
hope not.
And then we move over to Adana. Adana has had a bit of a freak out when they first woke up. How is she feeling right now?
She's still freaking out, but I think not as openly anymore, especially after seeing how almost immediately accepting everyone was of the situation they're in. They feel there's no real, I don't think there's any real like kind of way to say it, but they feel like they're losing it, being the only one who's scared or panicked or confused about what's going on. They have their cloak wrapped around them and just have kind of closed in on themselves. They haven't said anything. People might be asking loveless questions. Adana's been silent the moment they started going down the hill and hasn't seemed to even really look up at anyone either. Just eyes focused down on the ground, making themselves as small as possible and just making their way down the hill. And they've kind of gone into the habit of, wherever this form is, has a bunch of rings on their things, a bunch of jewelry on them, and they're kind of fiddling with it beneath their cloak as like a kind of stress reliever. And I think when asking the question that comes to their mind, the question that comes to their mind is, as they kind of fiddle with the jewelry on them, they very instinctually reach for their wrist to reach for a bracelet that in the old world was their comfort thing. They would fiddle with that. And while doing it, they half assume that they're going to find nothing. But underneath their cloak, they find metal. They find a bracelet. And upon looking down at it, they see this exactly the same bracelet as they had before. So I think right now, their question is, how? But they haven't said anything. They're just glad in this this moment that they have their comfort, I guess, fidget toy for now.
Absolutely. Now, Viscera, how are you feeling and what's going through your head?
Oh, everything going on through their mind is more practical than anything else. Less emotional, more of, do we have enough rations? What do rations look like here? What are the sort of provisions that we have, the equipment? As we're moving along, Viscera casts a critical eye on everyone, in a way trying to size them up, trying to see if they'll be helpful or if they'll just get in the way. And so I imagine that Viscera is actually one of the most talkative of the group in regards to speaking with Loveless. And all of the questions that Viscera asks are very practical for survival, and more along the lines of, can we expect this weather to be like this the entire time? Where can we get equipment?
In town, it's generally kind of cold. Honestly, I got off at, Blue Horizon recently. The southern winds come in quite brutal this time of year, but once we get to Refnil, from there we can charter course down to either Odinil, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. In terms of rations, though, I definitely have enough food for at least 3 weeks. Subsequently, I have enough Zenit to get us by.
Zenit, what is that?
Enough what?
Zenit, it's like pennies.
Okay.
It's like your
And-
dollar, but it's coin based. Fiat.
Okay, so it's
yeah, non-fiat currency.
okay. Interesting. So is having ones in it like a lot? Or would you having ones in it be like, oh wow, like you are struggling?
One Zenit is you are struggling. I would
Okay,
say.
20?
Is still struggling if that's all you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cielo's quickly doing the math on that one. We're girl mathing in this fantasy world.
Love it. As you continue down the peak, Viscera, you're asking these questions, you're trying to make sure the group is thinking ahead, thinking practically, but as you're doing so, you have what appears to be almost a cloak of shadow flowing behind you, these large claws coming off of it, gripping your shoulders. And you swear at times it feels like the cloak is almost dragging purposefully against the ground with some force. And these claws are kind of digging into your shoulders and bearing down this weight. But suddenly you'll turn around to check, and the cloak is flowing in the wind as per usual, and there's nothing there.
Viscera will scrutinize it and try to pull on it, try to assert some kind of control or dominance over it, but essentially doesn't fuss very much and doesn't make any kind of scene for it, doesn't ask anybody for any help.
Perfect. It takes a number of hours to finally make it to the base of the peak. And as you look back up, you don't envy Lovelace for having to have had make that journey to meet with you. But now, a faded road stretches out before you, leading to the small village you saw from the mountain. And you begin to move forward with whatever questions you may have.
Welcome to Refnil, I guess. It's not much.
You're not there yet. You have some travel distance between you still, maybe another like 40 minutes or so, but you are safe. None of you fell down the peak. If any of you have any questions that you want to ask Lovelace about the world, where you're at, what's going on, you are absolutely free to do so right now.
It's like a little bit further down, but like you get the concept.
So, Viscera trails off, kind of tugging at their cloak, holding this strange enamel scabbard of a sword. Magic is
Is
the
the
thing,
thing.
right?
Yep.
Do you have it?
Not out of
How
the
do you
box.
find out?
It's less of a science and honestly less of an art. It's kind of like, how do I describe this? Like muscle memory, I would say. I don't really know. I mean, I've been asking questions for about 5 years now, and while some of what this is, and Lovelace points that himself, is what I've been doing now, a lot of it also is just from what I got.
Well, how did you figure it out? Did you just like start and yeah, and Cielo's gonna just like and try to like cast with her hands as she is just speaking to Lovelace. Is it like a feeling? Is it a command? Is it like a kamehameha sort of
I'm gonna step 5
magic
feet back.
collation?
Because definitely you could probably, there's a high chance you could shoot fire, and I'm not trying to get burned this.
In the background, Viscera's like trying stealthily to be like, fireball.
Well, oh, you know what? Maybe, and she's gonna start like rubbing her hands, just like healing, elation. Trying to think of just any sort of magical words.
Nothing appears to be working as you're testing out all kinds of combinations of magical words you've seen in games or movies.
I start doing like finger combinations.
Yeah, you're trying to do like the Naruto hand signs. It's nothing's happening.
Okay.
Let's not get hasty. He'll come to y'all when it does, if it does. I think your bodies
I
are
know
still
I'm
waking
magic.
up. You
Just
all have
very
magic to some
boldly.
degree.
Do you?
That came with another purchase. Not really. Honestly, I'm to say if you all have really strong magic, because I kind of got like the shit end of the stick. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you
But we
mean?
can talk about that.
Yeah, what do you mean by buy? And how much Zenith? Zenith?
Zenith.
Zenith.
Yeah.
How much Zenith was it to buy magic?
Yeah. At that point, I kind of like show my right hand. It's Lovelace's right hand, which is in this like large, like onyx black mechanical gauntlet with different tubes and gems socketed into it. It's a bit larger than his actual hand. This costs a decent amount of Zenith to make, but I also
so
found
it's like
most of the
pay
parts.
to play.
Kind of to a degree. I mean, I think. Yeah, I mean, there's a low chance that you're gonna find someone who's like, bring my dog to location X, and they're just gonna hand you a really strong sword, unfortunately. But honestly, this is like a real world, so I feel like, if you cozy up with some people, they might, a blacksmith or a strong artificer or a mage of some form, that's also a possibility. But like I said, I think your bodies are still waking up, so maybe at some point you'll unleash some major power that will be mind-blowing, if not amazing.
Viscera scowls, and as we're talking about magic, does another assessment over everyone, looks them up and down, and in particular looks at Adana.
Adana has been, I think, if they'd been avoiding eye contact previously, they're really avoiding eye contact now with everyone, with how, again, everyone seems to be incredibly excited for whatever this world or these bodies have in store. And I think they started lagging behind. They kind of slowed down their pace, still within like eye line of everyone, but has definitely slowed down their pace a bit just to be alone as alone as they feel right now.
Hey!
But yes, I think yes.
You're lagging behind.
Sorry. Yes, and she'll speed up a little bit. Sorry.
You look
Do
like
you want to ride on one of the big cats?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Okay. And I'm gonna like keep walking ahead.
Do you think you've got magic?
Maybe. I don't know. How would you were to tell?
Fireball. I don't know.
Do you have any of your belongings?
No, I don't recognize any of this stuff.
Okay. And you just see them kind of mentally shut down again.
Ryan, how are you doing?
And you see that they're currently kind of leaned over, just kind of touching grass right now. Look up and say, I'm doing all right. It's just a lot to get used to. Actually, do you mind if I've been kind of thinking about some maybe a different name, like you've kind of taken on as well, instead of Brian?
Yeah, of course. I think that's perfectly valid. Fresh start.
Yeah. Kind of thinking Sinclair. I think that kind of feels good.
Has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like it. All right. If you can call me Sinclair from now on, I would. That'd be great.
Of course.
Okay, Sinclair. Do you think
It's
that
classy. I like it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
perhaps this would be good for us? Tactical move. Changing all of our names.
Okay. What do you change yours to?
This is the part of the anime where it like has a really sharp angle, shadows drawn over her face. Call me Viscera. Or Viscera.
Intense.
So, are you gonna pick one pronunciation, or are we supposed to just?
Just go with it because I keep messing it up and I'm just gonna say I have both pronunciations are correct.
Okay.
Also valid.
Yeah.
What about you? Looking at Mena?
Who was Jimena? Who is Jimena? Who may have never been Jimena in the first place? No. I'm the BBEEG.
Oh
Is
shit.
that the right amount of
BBEEG, big bad evil guy.
Super evil.
Extremely evil. Big, bad, extremely evil girl.
Yes.
That's me. Anyway. Jokes aside, yeah, no, Cielo, or Jimena, I should say, is gonna step ahead, kind of swinging her arms, thinking about it. Cielo. Yeah. Cielo, I like it.
I think that's all that matters.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look at, the person who may or may not be Adana.
I think again it's very much a case of Adana having like kind of shut down after the interaction with now Viscera. I don't think they're even really paying attention at this point. They're just kind of walking ahead, kind of looking at everyone's feet so they know that they're going the right direction, but not much higher. But I think after a moment they will kind of zone back in and see Cielo looking at her. And she goes, "Oh, sorry. Did you say something?"
What's your name gonna be?
And you see a general look of confusion on their face, as if they're just hearing that we're changing our names.
I mean, it's like nice because now you don't have to like put X's or numbers. Like you can just pick a name. You don't have to worry about somebody having your username already.
And you don't have to share one.
You didn't have to do that in the first place. I'm just gonna keep looking at Adana waiting.
I'm just Adana. I'm just Adana Mase.
Oh God, do we need last names too? I haven't even thought about that.
I don't
Oh,
have
please.
one. It's okay.
That's good, at least.
Adana, I think that's a good thing too. You don't need to change everything. Sometimes having something to tether you down is important. As long as you're comfortable, that's all that matters. It's a long road ahead.
Yeah. You've been here for how long?
A little over 5 years at this point. Took me about 2 weeks to get here from Blue Horizon. The age was pretty fast, but generally the road's been... I'm not used to traveling on land.
Um, do you miss home?
I did it first. It feels like forever ago, but I was really angry back then. But I think you get put into a fight or flight mode when you wake up in a new body, in a new world where magic exists and the internet isn't real. And you kind of decide what you need to get done. I think I do miss parts of it, and don't get me wrong, there are still parts of me that miss my family, and I hope they're okay for every single day. But at the end of this road, maybe there's a way home, like you said, if I recall. And if it means pushing past the hardship right now, then it's worth it.
You see, I think at a mention of them suggesting or even just asking if there was a way back in that limbo space, that you see them kind of wrap their cloak a bit tighter around them, and they give kind of a resolute nod, and then turn to Viscera and say, I don't know if I have magic, but I have a tarot deck. I think that's the only real thing I woke up with. And I don't know if that would be magical here, but I think that's the closest I have.
Well, it's a start. We all have to start somewhere. And I've got this. And you see that they raise their fist, and in it they've got that sword that hasn't been drawn. It's unusual. Kind of heavy.
That looks, I'll be honest, a bit more useful than a tarot deck.
Yeah, probably.
I've seen some pretty interesting things. There's a story with a spoon, but I'm not going to get into it. Anyways,
As the path leads you through a small cropping of trees and hills, and you continue talking amongst yourselves, kind of the awkwardness of the situation starting to fade away as you begin to open up more and more, you suddenly start hearing the sound of footsteps. Someone, something, is running towards you.
on guard.
Bounding over a hill, suddenly nearby, you see a light brown-skinned, toned person slightly younger than most of you. They have a harshly cut, short, dark hair and a quiver full of arrows strewn about their back and a bow in hand. Before your brain can fully register this person, you see them notch an arrow and turn around. Suddenly, 3 creatures resembling hyenas with elongated limbs jump over the small hill, and the hunter lets loose their arrow, striking one of the creatures in the stomach, to which you hear a guttural yelp. Hey, give me a hand.
Got
And
it.
we're gonna rush into combat real quick. So, combat for everybody in chat is in Fabula Ultima. If there is a named villain in the scene, the villains go first in initiative. And if there's not, the players go first. So it's very simple. This is courtesy of some updated playtest materials on Fabula Ultima's Patreon page. And it's a really great system, and I love it. So the way this works is, since there aren't any named villains, since we're just fighting some simple wolves, as you're going to find out here pretty soon, we start with a player, and then we have an enemy go, and then a player, enemy, so on and so forth. Until we're all the way through. And then we just start the process over and keep going. So, starting off, any of the players get to go first. As we jump into this combat scenario, I like to think, if you'll allow me, I like to think Loveless would be the most ready for this situation and kind of
100%.
leaps into action. So Loveless, what would you like to do?
Of course. I've spent a brief time in Refnell, so I have an assumption of who this is. I don't know if I've met them just yet. I will immediately engage. I get low to the ground. I start running forward. I drop off my backpack first. get low to the ground, engage. You see gas, steam, and energy begin to pulse out of my gauntlet. I sprint towards the closest enemy, one of the hyena-like creatures, and unload a blast on it by punching it straight in the jaw. So I'll
Hell
make a
yeah.
roll.
So, every time you make an attack roll, depending on what weapon or spell you're using, it's going to tell you what dice you need to roll. So, what attributes are you going to be rolling for this attack, Loveless?
Yeah, of course. So I'm using my gauntlet, my mechanical gauntlet. So I'm rolling with Might and Dex, two of Loveless's stronger stats, which is a D10 and a D8.
Awesome, love it. So go ahead and roll those dice. In order to successfully hit, their physical defense is a 10. So you need to roll a 10 or higher.
Well, I rolled a 13.
Okay, there we go. Awesome. So yeah, your gauntlet is just releasing this steam and buildup as you're preparing to punch this wolf. And you suddenly release the attack and it connects and you hear bones crunching. How much damage do you do?
Yeah, of course. So damage from my gauntlet is highest roll, which in this case was a 7, plus 6. So I do 13 points of damage on initial impact.
Love it. Do you want to have attacked the one that was already injured from the arrow, or do you want to attack one of the fresh ones?
In the back of my head, I would normally attack the one that was already hit with the arrow, but I have something in mind, so I'm going to attack one that has not been hit.
Okay, sounds good. That works. And you did how much? Sorry?
13 total.
13. All right, next up, one of the other wolves, suddenly as your fist is connecting with the first wolf, the one with the arrow suddenly snarls at you, turning its full body towards you and leaping to kind of take a bite out of crime, so to speak. So I'm going to be rolling for their vicious bite attack, which is Dex plus Might. Plus, these wolves have a special skill where for the number of wolves active in the scene, they get a bonus to their attacks. So there are 3 wolves alive right now, so they get a +3 to this. So I rolled a 14. What is your physical defense stat?
Yeah, my physical defense stat should be 9.
Okay, perfect. So I rolled above your defense. So the wolf kind of snarls and bites into your left arm, and you're pretty used to being attacked. You're pretty used to this pain already, but still, it's pretty visceral and pretty jarring as this wolf just kind of bites into you, lets go, and kind of backs off for a moment. They deal 18 points of damage to your health.
18? Quick math, 47, 37. Okay, great. Come on, let's go.
All right, who would like to go next? As you're all seeing Loveless kind of jump into the fray, quickly punching one of the wolves, one of you reacts next. Almost instinctively, what happens? Who goes?
I'll go next.
All right, what happens?
Okay, real quick, I want to say thank you so much to Danny for the level 1 surges to both Viscera and Adana, and thank you so much, Fatal Baptist, for the level 2 surge to Cielo.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Almost out of instinct, very similar to the gesture of the fireball that Viscera had been attempting earlier, all of a sudden they whip their hand out away from the sword and they point it towards one of the creatures, and red particles begin to manifest in the air. And as they get thicker, they become more viscous, almost blood-like. It's a bit hard to tell exactly what it is as it swirls in a mist. And as it spews out, it forms a sort of cloud around the creature. As I will cast a spell.
Oh my gosh, yeah, almost by muscle memory. Now that your adrenaline is pumping, these wolves are on top of you and your group of companions. Your body reacts. There's no thought behind anything, just suddenly you are casting the spell. And go ahead, what do you roll to try to hit with this?
I will cast a spell, Drain Vigor, and this will be insight and willpower.
Okay, perfect. This creature's magic defense is 8. So as long as you roll an 8 or higher, you hit.
All right, here we go. I rolled a 13.
That definitely hits. So what does it look like as this magic kind of takes effect on the wolf?
It begins to manifest almost like spikes, and they punch into the creature, and you begin to see some of that mist trail away and begin to swirl around Viscera, almost vampiric in nature.
I love that. And did you want to attack one of the injured ones, or did you want to attack one of the fresh ones?
One of the injured ones.
Okay. We'll say that you attack the same one that Loveless was focusing on. So you do 24 points of damage, and this wolf is now in a pretty critical state. So
I told you,
next up,
it's like riding a bike.
yeah. Gosh, I gotta do math. Okay, I did math. Everybody praise
Ooh,
me.
I can't do math, so good job.
You're so great, and you're also really kind.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, now that I'm really kind, the one that Viscera just attacked and the one that Loveless had punched into rears around and is going to bite towards Loveless, who's still kind of right there. Your punch just connect, you got bit. Now this wolf is reacting and kind of lunging towards you. So there's still 3 wolves active in the combat, so they're going to get a +3 to their attack.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 9, and your defense is a 9?
It is.
Okay, so that's a hit. So, oh wait, no. I rolled a 3, not a 5. I couldn't see my dice properly. So, I only rolled a 7. So, what does it look like as this wolf is trying to snarl and bite towards you and you're able to block it or get out of the way?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I feel like Loveless doesn't really dodge. So the minute it snarls at me, I duck underneath it, pick it up by the scruff, and just throw it to the side in front of me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, you just toss this wolf to the side. It's able to pretty quickly recover, but we're gonna go ahead and move to somebody else. So Sinclair, Adana, or Cielo, who would like to go?
I'd be down to go. I think it's very much against Adana's will, as almost in response to Viscera acting. Adana feels something shake in one of the pouches, in the pouch where they noticed the tarot deck was in, and suddenly the pouch's clasp flips open, and nearly about maybe 20 to 30 tarot cards just fly out, and you'd expect them to hit the ground, but they don't. They just levitate around Adana, and they can just spin around them faster and faster and faster. And there's initially a panic in Adana's eyes. They're not entirely sure what's happening. They're getting swarmed by flying cards, and then the hyenas after them. But again, a lot like Viscera and Loveless, they just allow the muscle memory to take over, and they feel themselves reach out with their left hand, the one that is blackened, ending in claws rather than nails, and they grab 1, 2, 3 cards out of the air. And I'm going to use God, I didn't have it up, so let me get it up. But I'm going to use my magic cards ability and play my tarot deck, my actual tarot deck. 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, and 6 of Pentacles.
Okay. Now, for the audience, because obviously I know everything, but for the audience, what does this
Yes. I'm looking out right now because there's a bunch of different things that it does depending on the combination you draw.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm opening that up right now. Okay, so I'm playing the ability magic cards, which lets me spend mind points to play a number of cards, and I'm going to play 4 cards, which drains 20 mind points from me. And having 4 cards of ascending consecutive values is called a blinding flush. You deal damage equal to 15 plus the total value of the resolved cards to each enemy present in the scene. The type is the type damage is light if it's the highest value is even, or dark if the highest value is odd. And the highest value is
Jesus
7,
Christ.
so it's odd. And
Okay.
I deal. I need to check. Do I roll or does it just happen? Because I think just I spend it and during the cards is the effect. Yeah, I just draw the cards. I don't need to roll for it.
You don't roll? You just do
Yeah.
this damage automatically?
Yeah. Because I think it's because of the randomness of drawing the cards. So every battle I draw 5 cards, and whatever I have in my hand, I'm working with that as I go along.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So 9.
So you deal how much to everybody?
Yeah. 9, 15, 22, and then 22 plus 25, 47 points of no, sorry, not 47, 37 points of dark damage to everyone, to all the enemies present. As you see those cards, I grab those cards and all of a sudden they just pull themselves out of my hand. I don't even throw it, I don't aim them, they just erupt out of my hand and slam into the creatures as I spend that MP.
Jesus Christ. That's a lot of damage. All right. So what do you imagine it looks like? So the first wolf that both Viscera and Loveless were attacking, completely dead by this.
Okay.
And the one that had the arrow stuck into it is extremely, extremely weak now. So what do you imagine this looks like as this attack is taking effect?
So these cards are whipping around Adana. They're very much like the ones I'm holding right now. They're mostly plain reds, but they each have an image of an eye on the back of them. And I think as they speed their way towards these wolves, you see from the eye, people seem to be moving as if they're tracking these wolves to make sure they hit directly. And when they slam into the wolf, they embed themselves like daggers, and then suddenly they erupt into black flames, and you can see the flames begin to eat into the wounds they've left behind, or eat into the wolf itself as one of them dies. And Adana kind of staggers back, and you see like the tornado of cards around them follow them, and they look terrified as this happens.
Absolutely. I love that. I think in the back of your mind, you're not even sure if this is real, but you hear some sort of dark laughter just kind of at the very edges of your mind taking place as you're stumbling back and you're just kind of panicked about what just happened. So next up, we have one more wolf. So gosh, this one is also really fucked up and really injured. They're considered in crisis. So sometimes creatures or sometimes different spells or attacks will have different effects if the target or the person casting it is in crisis. None of these have any attacks or anything that make them more deadly when they're in crisis, so don't worry about that. Just explaining for the audience's sake. So now, one of the wolves that's slightly more healthy, but still in really bad shape, I think just got fucking rocked by Adana and recognizes that this magic came from Adana. So we see the wolf kind of turn and suddenly lunge towards them. And Adana, I'm gonna have them make a bite at you. There's only 2 wolves left, so this is only getting a +2. And I rolled a 10. What is your physical defense?
Let me look for that right now. My physical defense is 11.
Oh, okay. So what does it look like as you're able to block this wolf's attack?
I think it's truly a case of, like I mentioned, these cards are whipping around Adana. They don't seem to really have any control over them. They seem to have a mind of their own. And as this wolf jumps at Adana, you see all of the cards stop in the air, and every single one of the eyes on the back of these cards look in the direction of this wolf and basically make a wall of cards. And when you hear the wolf slam into it, it sounds like it's slamming into brick rather than what you assume is paper. And then they bounce off, and then once it bounces off, the cards get back to whipping around Adana.
Oh my gosh. Incredible. I love it. Perfect. So, now that this wolf has just been completely stopped, slammed against this magical wall of cards, and is on the ground, slowly getting up, who would like to go next?
I think Sinclair kind of seeing this kind of creature attack, Adana is going to say, absolutely not, and is going to start charging up. And I think as this hyena is next to Adana, you see that Sinclair kind of runs down the hill and will jump over, doing a bit of a somersault over Adana and stabbing down into this creature. As they're kind of up in the air, they slide out their spear from beneath their shields and just take it in both hands, stabbing down into the creature.
I love that. Okay, so go ahead and roll to hit. What are you rolling to hit?
So I am rolling dexterity and might for this one.
Perfect.
So unfortunately, that is only a
Oh,
4
no!
for me.
Yeah,
So
what does it look like as you miss, do you think?
I think that Sinclair got overexcited and very overzealous, and overshot slightly.
Mhm.
But as they overshoot and they stab into the ground, they do a bit of a slide and kind of whip themselves around, spear into the ground, one knee on, dragging down in the dirt as they get back up. And he will unsheath his shield as well, arming himself.
Love that. Perfect. So now there are no more enemies to act in this round. So we're just going to go straight to Cielo. What would you like to do?
Okay. Also, so sorry. I got slightly distracted by things on.
You're good. No worries. No worries.
Okay, cool. Also, just to clarify, so only one left or two?
There's practically only one left because one only has 1 HP. So
Okay.
there's 2 left actually, but one's
Worm.
like on death's door.
Worm. Okay, cool. Cielo is going to look at everything. In reality, she is partially panicked, but I think the adrenaline is kicking in. There's a little bit of excitement in her too, and we've been talking about like muscle memory when it comes to this whole magic situation. I think just instinctually, Cielo's going to hold her hands in front of her, and she's going to speak a word. And as she does, her hands spread apart, and there's going to be this like floating, glowing amber gem that starts to spin fast. And as it spins, it crackles with electricity. The word she's going to say is Fulgur, which is a spell. So I'm going to roll for that now. And hopefully it all works. Oh wait, no, I rolled it twice.
It didn't roll automatically.
No! Ooh, okay, what did I do wrong?
You want to click the magic check button.
That's what it is. Thank you.
Oh, there we
Okay.
go. Okay.
Yeah, we got an 8.
So we got an 8, which is unfortunately not a
Nope.
hit.
No.
But, well, wait, is it a hit? Hold on. What did I write? It is a hit because this is
Oh.
magic. So their magic defense
Weird.
is an 8. So
cool.
what does this look like as the spell takes effect? And also,
Mhm.
are you wanting to target the super weak wolf or the slightly more HP wolf?
Well, that's the thing, is apparently this can hit multiple targets. It says something about each target, but we're just gonna go with the one that's slightly more damage. Or slightly, no. The one that has more HP. There we go. That's
I
what
think
gonna
it
say.
depends on
Okay.
how much MP you choose, because the thing it should say like T times M, like a number.
I don't see. Oh no, it just says I can target up to 3 creatures, but it doesn't
Okay.
have a. I'll double check my cost. We can say that it uses all of my magic. That's fine. That's what I
Yeah,
use for
all of it.
we can
prepping.
have it be like the cost of 1 casting for now, and we'll look into it. I have a feeling you're gonna win this combat, and it won't be a big deal. So
Are you sure? I mean, it's really up in the air.
might.
It's up in the air. It could be.
It
You
is a
could come out
little
on
up in
top,
the air.
Emma.
You
You
never
could
know. You
win.
never know. So yeah, what does it look like as you deal 22 points of lightning damage to both of these wolves, outright killing them?
Yeah. So the lightning from the gems like sends out this it sends out like a thunder wave basically, and the bolts crackle from one to another, like a chain reaction.
Yeah. You remember classically a spell in Last Relic Online was Chain Lightning, and this is
okay.
like hitting those notes perfect.
Didn't do that on purpose. But yeah.
Incredible.
Thank you.
As the wolves finally lay down defeated, you see the person that you rescued or that asked for your help kind of breathing there heavily. They turn towards you, and Loveless, you recognize them. You met this person very briefly at Refno Village, just like a couple days ago. And they smile awkwardly. Oh, well, it's lucky I came across some adventurers, mercenaries.
Bit of both. Your name was Tem, I believe?
Nadia.
Oh.
Tem, where are you all from? I thought that had kind of spread everywhere.
What spread?
So
apologies.
a lot of, well, I mean, we received letters about it, so maybe it hasn't spread as much as I thought. So a lot of the world is picking up a preliminary name to denote your pronoun usage. So Tem says I use they them pronouns, and I'm Tem Nadia, so my actual name is Nadia. And at this time, I'm going to share a little handout for all of you where you can see the little designations for each combination of pronoun usages, so that when characters introduce themselves, like, for instance, if Viscera were to introduce themselves as an NPC or something, you could say, oh, my name's Shay Viscera. And that would tell the people you're talking to, I use she, they pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
That is so fucking cool. This is awesome.
So this is a system that's largely kind of been picked up by the entire world. There's some people that don't use it, and that could mean that they just don't use the system or they don't have any preferred pronouns. And yeah, so there's a helpful little thing.
Apologies, Nadia. Hem Loveless. The Angla Trade Network doesn't, at least the ships that I were on, don't use them as often. They're a bit more uncouth, so I apologize.
I mean, it's fine. I knew you were coming back with some friends, but where'd they come in from? They ask kind of like quizzically, and you can sense they're suspicious a little bit, and they're not entirely sure how to feel about all of you right now.
They were meeting me from Aldum. My understanding is that they were heading east. I was catching up with them, just given the different ports that we're coming from. Nothing too much out of the ordinary. But anyways, how did you? What's happened? It kind of just point down at the.
I mean, I was just hunting and caught a few too many of them at once, and I would have been fine. I've handled this many before, but it's helpful running into other people who are as capable as you five.
You kind of see Adana. Adana hasn't been paying attention at all. They've been trying to like grab at the cards around them, and then they kind of pause to look in the direction of Nadia, and the moment they do, you see all of the cards almost like very quickly organized, and then just slot themselves back in the pouch at their side. They just look down at it confused, and then back up at Nadia. Hi, hello.
Hello?
Sorry.
Are you all going to Refino? I can walk you back if you want to help me carry these wolves.
I'll immediately go pick one up.
I immediately
Thanks.
cross my arms underneath my chest.
You see
try to
them
pick one
kind
up.
of, you know, like the fire person roll where they like just roll on top of a person, and then they kind of do that maneuver to get one of the wolves' bodies on their shoulders. And they look back. Anybody else, or I can come back for this later.
No,
I definitely
it's-
try, and then I look, and then I struggle, and then I look to Sinclair.
Well, as we've seen before, and Sinclair will go over, squatting down before kind of hauling it onto his shoulders, adjusting
Yeah,
slightly.
I'm just still adjusting, I guess.
That's okay.
It's okay. I mean, wolves are heavy. A lot of creatures are heavy. Carrying them isn't for everyone. I can walk you back, and do you have any other cultural questions, I guess, that I might be taking for granted? Feel free to ask, I suppose. And they start walking, and as we see the scene of you all walking together, heading towards Refnell Village, we see a scene taking place elsewhere. In Fabula Ultima, you have things called villain scenes, where the table and everybody else gets a little bit of meta knowledge of what's happening with the villains, or with some other people that are in a different place. So, we come in on a large stone throne room stretching out before us. A singular grand red and gold carpet rests in the center of the room, flowing from the doorway to the steps leading to the throne itself. An opening in the ceiling lets sunlight into the room as it catches walls adorned with melted gold that have been shaped into picturesque murals. 6 massive golden columns with the names of various families in the Empire run along the length of the room, having been made an offering to the Demon King. Demon King Tetsun himself sits on their decorated throne high above his knight and a man bowed in reverence before them. His light blue skin and golden eyes appear to shine in the sunlight and radiate judgment upon those beneath him. Gold adorns their entire being as his white hair is braided through and around various pieces of golden jewelry. Their horns and nails have been dipped in gold, while pieces of gold thread are even stitched into their forearms and neck. They wear expensive and thick dark and gold robes that flow down from the throne onto the floor. A small-statured man with a shaved head and an ornamental golden headdress stands humbly beside the Demon King with a parchment in hand. Grand Inquisitor Blur, you have been found guilty of trading secrets to the rebel factions within the Empire for monetary wealth and privilege, which, may I remind you, are already greatly afforded to you due to your high position in the Great Demon King's cabinet. Your greed has weakened our king's societal position and endangered his livelihood to those that distrust our benevolent leader simply due to his ties to past demon kings he has never even known nor met. You have a chance of redemption, however, due to the demon king's mercy. Reveal what secrets you told to the rebels, and your punishment shall be lessened. Blur continues looking down at the floor in posterity as sweat drips from his forehead. Your role as Grand Inquisitor will be stripped from you, and any future role in the Empire will, of course, be out of reach for you. However, you have the opportunity to do the right thing and redeem your honor. Blur sniffles while biting back some fearful tears. I have no excuses for my actions, and any excuses I can offer are empty and meaningless. The rebels have been extremely interested in information regarding the Demon Sage. Her identity, her role, her powers. Information to me has been limited, but I did share what I know. Resin smiles and begins to speak, but is interrupted by the voice from the throne. And what is it that you knew? Resin seems surprised that Tetsun spoke, but Blur rushes to answer. I know she's a half-elf with bright red hair. I know you've gifted her the name of Hope, and that seemingly no history exists for her prior to 3 years ago. She works closely with you, my king, and her exact duties are kept secret to all but you, her, and advisor Resin. Rumors suggest that the Demon King, like the Demon King, she was materialized into this world, but logic more resoundingly states that elves tend to be a very secretive people, especially around their young. If a new elf was born, even a half-elf, they would likely be hidden for a time until they reach the age of adulthood. Resin coughs while looking towards Tetsun. Well, my king, it seems the knowledge is very limited indeed. The Demon King appreciates your cooperation, Blur. Might I recommend a new sentence for the previous Grand Inquisitor? Tetsun looks towards a knight in full armor, brandishing a large two-handed sword. Death. Resin, seemingly shocked, begins to protest, and Blur begins to cry out. But both noises are swiftly cut off by the heavy sound of steel cutting flesh. Servants swiftly approach the body to clean it and take it away as a young half-elf with short, bright red hair approaches and kneels before the king. My king, I've returned with news of the tasks you've assigned me. She gets cut off. Not here. I will meet you in your chambers. Give me your report there. Hope nods, rising to her feet, and her footsteps echo throughout the room as she exits. Resin steps closer to the throne. Tetsun, that was not what we discussed, and what is this task you provided to your sage? I told you I must be aware of these things. Tetsun swiftly but carefully raises his hand to silence Resin. My decisions are my own. We can discuss this later. He stands. Cancel my dinner. I imagine my business with the sage will take some time. Resin bows as the Demon King walks away, and the scene fades to black. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We will be back in just a few moments. Please enjoy this little break with us. Do a little stretch, grab a water. We'll be right back.
Our Lives After.
Hello. Stella Luna here. I just want to take a minute to say thank you to Hero Forge for sponsoring the first arc of our 6-episode TTJRPG limited series, Our Lives After. Let me introduce you to my character, Viscera. Viscera is a critical person, the one to ask the hard questions, the one that will challenge you in the face of making moral decisions or when you take unnecessary risk. She is selfish but self-conserving, and it comes from a place of great and terrible loss. Look at her, my beautiful, edgy, sad girl. Please check out HeroForge.com to design your own character as you would envision them.
Hello, I'm Drac, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Cheipeku, who is sponsoring our TTJRPG Action Play limited series, Our Lives After. When playing TTRPGs, I really love immersing myself in the world, really envisioning myself in the space. Gorgeous maps play a huge part in making that possible, and Cheipeku has no shortage of them to choose from. These beautiful hand-drawn illustrations come in map packs that provide plenty of variety to meet your tabletop needs. At $5 a month through their Patreon, you get full access to their archive of over 4,000 maps. They even have absolutely stunning scenes for when battle maps aren't necessary. With a ton of variants to fit any environment an adventuring party might find themselves in, there is sure to be something that suits your game. Sign up to their Patreon or visit cheipeku.com to add these maps and scenes to your inventory. Our lives after.
So before the break, and before the Demon King time we had, it looked like Viscera was going to say something or had a question. Is that the case, or did I misinterpret that?
You definitely had a question. Oh, okay, I remember. Uh,
Okay.
I look to Nadia. Are there any other dangers that we are to expect on our way there?
Well, wolves are the main thing. There are other wildlife and animals, and you never know when or where a fiend may show up. But wolves are the primary predators. If you get too close to Midminster Forest and parts of it, there are other threats there. Got to be careful of the Mesk, but besides that, we're relatively safe out here.
All right. And I will cross my arms over my chest and look entirely like I don't trust anything that just came out of this person's mouth.
Adana kind of sidles up to Loveless, tries to be as subtle about it as possible, at least subtle to Nadia, and will just whisper, they said a mask? What's that?
Loveless, you might not know what a Mesk is. Okay, so
Yeah, I don't think I do because I don't spend too much time on land. So, and I'm
yeah,
relatively
give
new
me...
to Milfast actually.
Yeah. Give me a... We're gonna have you make a roll.
Oh shit!
Let's
bad.
do an insight plus insight check to see if you've heard of the Mesk or are aware of them.
Insight plus oh, actually, it's not that terrible. It's 2d8. That's not.
Yeah, that's pretty
atrocious.
good.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you on a 11 plus.
Well, I rolled an 8 and a 1, so I got a
Okay.
9. So it
Okay.
definitely didn't make it.
There you go. Well, so I'm going to introduce the concepts of Fabula points to the audience, and as a reminder to you all as well. So in our Roll20, there's a little cheat sheet where you can look and you can see the different ways you can gain Fabula points and the different ways you can spend them. You all received an additional Fabula point because I had a villain scene just there. But Fabula points specifically can be used to alter the story, to invoke a bond or a trait, or use certain kinds of skills. In Fabula Ultima, when you're creating your character, you create different bonds of like people you're close with or you're antagonistic towards, or traits, which are kind of like a descriptive title you give your character for who they are. So, for instance, Loveless, if you had a trait that you felt could apply to this situation, like if you had a trait of like, oh, I'm the scholarly wanderer or something, then I could say, okay, if you're gonna spend a Fabula point and invoke your trait, you get to re-roll this check. So just for the purposes of the audience learning what this system is, could you tell us what your traits are?
Yeah, of course. I will tell the group the traits. I will note that I don't think they're as applicable here, and I kind of want to learn with the group. That'd be fun. But anyways, my traits are to clarify, the traits are identity and origin, correct? Or is it also including theme?
I think it's theme.
It's theme.
Yeah.
Just theme or all three?
I think all three.
Yeah, it's all three, right? Okay, just wanted to clarify. So, Loveless's identity, which is a nice little statement, is a wanderer who is looking for a reason to live for himself, which I don't really think is applicable here. Origin is a sailor who once served the Heidel lords with an iron fist. That's a little extra there. And then theme is freedom. So I'm gonna say that unfortunately I've only been in this region of the world and on land for like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So I actually
Okay.
don't know what this is.
Okay, absolutely. That works. So, unfortunately, you don't know who the Mesk are. So, what do you say to Adana?
I don't actually know.
Okay.
What? One sec. Nadia, what are the Meskar?
Oh, yeah. So, the Mesk, they're a small community that live in Midminster Forest. They used to be wanderers, but they settled here. I think it was maybe 40 or 50 years ago. And they're just extremely antagonistic towards outsiders. A few months ago, they killed somebody who was from our village, and just for like approaching near their area of the forest. Um, so yeah, you want to give them a wide berth.
I guess that answers our question. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's not the most uncommon thing I've heard of.
It's common here. Okay. How long until we get to town?
Oh, not far. Nadia leads you through a small collection of simple wooden houses with slanted roofs as you finally kind of approach town. Most of them appear to be in a state of disrepair. As Nadia explains, Refnal's been a dying village for a while now. A long time ago, a curse suddenly appeared in the area and was killing a lot of the people here. The village didn't really have the opportunity to reach out and put a job posting at the Adventurers Union to get help. So a few of the villagers banded together and were able to kill it. But I mean, by that time, a lot of damage had already been done. And since then, more people have left or died, and now there's just a few of us left. As they tell this story, you finally come upon a larger building. This building is further away from the other houses, and a worn wooden sign hangs outside that once said inn, but there has been not really much of a use for it since Refnel doesn't often get visitors, and the sign itself has fallen into disrepair. The building itself is in the best shape of any of the buildings you've seen so far, but it still shows signs of age and just wear. You can hear this loud sound of wood being chopped behind the building as Nadia leads you to the front door. Here, come in. I'll go get Hala.
Thank you.
Walking inside, straight past the front door is just a very small, very kind of like bar vibe. There are some stairs off to the right leading upstairs to where you imagine some rooms might exist. This room itself has a few tables with just like some chairs that have seen better days, some stools kind of all lined up against the bar itself that are probably in the best shape of any of the furniture here. The bar takes up about like a third of the room. There are various tankards along the wall and some barrels kind of underneath the counter. Then a door that leads to a back room. Do you all just kind of like sit down?
Yeah, Adana just very awkwardly takes a seat. I think they try to have their back to a wall or something so they can look in and into the area rather than have anything behind them.
Yeah. Roll me a d20 and tell me high or low.
Oh, damn. Okay. I'll go high.
Okay.
Nope,
Great.
an 8.
as you sit down on this chair, with your back facing a wall, you hear the chair crumbling beneath you as you suddenly start falling through the chair and it completely breaks.
Oh, ow. Ow, my toe burnt.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
Hey,
bruised it.
here, and Sinclair will come over and offer an arm.
You just see just complete and utter defeat on Adana's face as they just take your arm and pull themselves up. And I think it just will stand instead back against the wall and just, again, I think close in on themselves.
And we can maybe find another chair. Maybe we could find also someone if you want to look at your hand there as well.
Yeah, you notice that they've been kind of wringing their hands, very specifically like running it along the lines and the dark blackened section of it. Yeah, no, that'd be nice.
Okay.
Just to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Nadia. Do you know anyone, maybe like a physician or doctor around town or anything like that?
Hala would probably be the best person to talk to, but I mean, we don't really have a dedicated healer or anything. But she used to fight, so she knows about injuries.
Okay. Does she know about like frostbite or anything like that? Signs of frostbite potentially?
Your guess is as good as mine. I'll go get her.
Okay, thank you.
And you see Nadia kind of walk back outside and head towards the person cutting firewood, you imagine.
Viscera takes a very long time deciding what chair to sit in after seeing Adana's tumble. And she's basically testing their strength before she finally settles down in one.
All of the chairs by the tables are a bit of a gamble, but you can tell the stools were recently made and seem to be in fairly good shape.
Then one of the stools it is.
Perfect. Would any of you like to talk to each other or say anything before I bring Hala in?
Yeah. I'll take a moment. Adana, do you mind if I take a look? I know Sinclair mentioned it was frostbite.
I don't know for sure. I just guessed. And yeah, I'll show my hand to Loveless, and it looks like a hand. It just looks like it's almost like the skin itself has taken on a black pigment, much darker than the rest of the body, but matches the color of the lines that go up their body and down their face. And it ends where the nail should be, are more like pointed claws than anything else.
Loveless kind of, I wouldn't say is taken aback, but definitely has a moment of like notice or like, I wouldn't say eureka. And he goes, I had an inkling, but I wasn't 100% sure. When you're out on the open ocean ferrying people to and fro, you see different people from all over the world. It was an easy way to get caught up on literature and kind of the state of affairs. To my very basic understanding, and maybe this Halna will have more insight, these are something along the lines of ley or ley lines. I think the terminology is maybe ley marked. I'm not 100% sure, so I apologize. But at least it's a starting thread for you.
Okay. Okay. I guess it's something to think here. Thank you. And you just notice they still kind of rubbing at that hand as if at some point the paint is going to leave or something.
Without even looking at you, Viscera kind of calls out, "Does it hurt?"
No. No, it doesn't hurt. It just no, it doesn't hurt.
All right. A few moments later, you hear footsteps outside as you see Nadia come back in alongside a new person. And Lovelace, you would know who this is. You've met them briefly before. The rest of you, however, see this dark-skinned older woman with thick white braids flowing down her back. She wears very muted and worn leathers, and for her age, still moves like pretty spryly and has some muscle. As you look at her, you imagine she's probably in her like late 60s, early 70s maybe, but she is in very good shape for her age, and is still keeping pretty active considering she was just chopping firewood. But she enters, looks at all of you. Well, welcome to Refnell. It's good to have visitors. It doesn't happen very often, and it's even rare that we have two groups of visitors visiting at the same time. I'm Cher Halla. Who are you?
I'm Adana. I'm really sorry I broke one of your chairs.
Oh, that was bound to happen eventually. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll clean that up later.
I know that we met before, Alna, but I would love the rest of the group. These are the individuals I was looking for. But I think proper introductions are in line.
That would be great. I heard you came in from a bit of a strange place, and she kind of looks over towards Nadia. You said you came in from Aldum?
I came in from Blue Horizon when I came through with the Adra yesterday morn. Our group are, I would prefer the word adventurer rather than mercenaries. And they were heading in from a rendezvous point in Aldum.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that you were registered. Who were you with?
It's a long story, to say the least.
Okay, well, long stories are welcome here if you want to tell them, but tell me, who are your friends?
I'll just slowly gesture because I think Lovelace is like being dad right now. He's like, "Come on, say hi."
Not looking up.
Yes, Cielo will lean forward and just say, "Hi, nice to meet everyone. Thank you."
What was your name?
Oh God, I like try to remember the whole pronoun thing that we were taught because I do want to leave a good first impression. So you see Cielo like scrambling and eventually says, sure, Cielo. Yes, that is the name."
It's nice to meet you, Cielo. Thank you.
I'm A. Sinclair.
Pleasure.
Shay Viscera.
Well, nice to meet all of you. I don't have too much. Do you want a drink? Are you hungry?
I would love some water if you have any.
I can get you water. Absolutely. Anybody else? Imagine we have some conversations to have, some stories to share, perhaps.
And
I'll
if
lean
you would
over to
like
Love.
maybe
Okay.
hot drink, that'd be nice, like a hot tea. Water is also fine. I'm so sorry.
Okay, water is great. I can boil water and just give you hot water, but
No. Just get water
I
from
could throw
wherever you
some
got
leaves
it.
from outside in.
No, it's okay.
I'll take what you called the grimy ale yesterday again.
Okay.
Sinclair will lean over to Lovelace and say, "What's the coffee approximate again?
Oh, they definitely.
They do not have that
They
here.
definitely don't have it. I would have definitely brought some on the road yet for y'all this morning.
No, it's okay. Water would be great. Thank you.
Do you have anything sweet?
Well, we have our ale that Lovelace here was talking about. We make it here. It's a bit sweet and sour. We make it with Wesp's honey and grin.
Bittersweet. Just how I like it.
Okay, great. Perfect. Well, I will get you all water and a couple of ales as well.
Alna,
So,
can you put it on my tab if possible? I'll pay before we leave.
I told you last time, we don't accept money here. You're fine. And she goes out the back to go get some water from the well. And Nadia's left sitting there with all of you. She's just awkwardly kind of standing there. I can like go if you all need some time to talk or anything. Get stories straight, maybe.
I look at Loveless when when she says that.
Nadia, I think. Can you check in if there's any of the more of the honey? I'd love to add it to my storage for the road, and we'll iron out some things.
Okay. I'll go talk to Hedron and make sure he brings some honey later. And they'll walk out, and you all are left alone for a few minutes.
Viscera.
Criminals?
What?
They think we're criminals.
No. Well, Nadia might think we're criminals now, but
Oh.
I would like to clarify I'm not from Milfist, so I don't really know the region as well.
Okay.
So I kind of just threw together what I knew of the general area, and honestly, I forgot that Aldom is mostly a ghost town at this point in time.
Do you think it'll be strange if we tell people that we're from a different world?
I have yet to do so, but that was my volition, but that was because I was alone.
I'm getting the impression that we should keep it to ourselves for now.
We should come up with a cover story. Where should we say we're from?
Well, I just want to make sure that everybody else is comfortable with that. Adana
Oh.
Sinclair?
Adana just nods and yeah, I guess until we get a better sense of what is acceptable, what's normal, what is liked, maybe we come up with something else.
Yeah, maybe if there's, I guess, someplace near here that makes sense for us to be from.
Let me bring you all over to the world map, which
Let's go.
most of you won't know anything about, but Lovelace would know the general layout of the world, its countries, and its kingdoms. So take a look at that, and you can plan a little bit.
Take a look at this map.
So you are currently
Get outlive.
down here on the continent of Nelmna
Okay.
in the
Nelmna.
aristocracy of Milfast.
the
You
southwest.
said that you came into an abandoned city that is here.
That's where Aldom is.
Yeah.
Is Blue Horizon east of where we are, or where is Blue Horizon? The port
Blue
city?
Horizon is a small city outside the capital of Audenil. It is a guild city, meaning that an adventurers guild basically owns the city and takes care of the city, manages its day-to-day operations, and shares the money that they get adventuring with kind of the people who live in the city. So Blue Horizon is probably right around here on the map.
I'll pull out a map. Kind of
Oh,
flatten
good.
it out.
Oh, thank God.
Just
Visualize. Okay.
This is big. This is a big world.
I've only been to a couple of these continents and mostly never touching land. I point down at where Blue Horizon is. I've stayed a couple of nights in Blue Horizon where I got the Adria and then started heading south here. We could say we're from there. Adventurers come through port there all the time. But I'm not too sure of Nelmna and its current geopolitical aristocracy as a whole.
Okay. Well, she mentioned something about us being registered. Is that a thing we need to think about, worry about? Are there
So,
documents we
Loveless,
need?
lore drop. So, in this world, there is an adventurers union. And the adventurers union is where all adventurers are registered, and every adventurer, they can be either independent, where they're not affiliated with a guild and they just adventure solo. They can be a part of a small group, like you all could go and register as like a small guild, and you can like recruit more people to join your guild over time and kind of build your own environment, whatever. Or you can join a larger established guild like Blue Horizon, or there are others. And all of these would mean you get various benefits through the Adventurers Union, but a big discrepancy between adventurers and mercenaries is local governments try to conscript adventurers into war efforts quite often. So adventurers eventually kind of made a rule of, hey, like adventurers are from all over the world. We're not going to get involved in like political or war efforts. And so like we're to handle like the big issues facing like little people and kind of conflicts that affect the world and things of that nature. Mercenaries are basically adventurers in all but name. Um, Oftentimes they do whatever jobs that don't want to be posted with the Adventurers Union for whatever reason. These often could be illegal in nature, or they could be actively part of like some war effort or whatever else. So that's kind of like what a mercenary is versus an adventurer. And to be a registered adventurer is to be registered with the union. And so when you said like, oh, we're adventurers or mercenaries, but I prefer the term adventurer, like that was confusing to the person you were saying it to, because they were like, those are different things. But yeah, that's the basically rundown.
Okay.
So we have that as an option. Once again, I've really only been on land for about 2-3 weeks now at this point, and mostly on the road. Most of the work I've done hasn't been guild certified or adventurer certified, so I haven't been in a group this size, especially with what we all know, and so this is pretty new for me as well.
Perhaps then we should just be vague with the details. If we spin too many lies, we might just get caught up in it ourselves.
Maybe we could say that we're on our way to join, potentially.
It's like when you get pulled over because your registration is out of date, but then you tell them that you have the registration sticker. You just haven't put it on yet.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that could work. We'll be here, and we'll be shortly leaving, generally. And then we'll make our way northward to a larger city. Which actually goes on for me to explain. It probably feels like moments ago for you, but do you all still remember why we're here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our friend. Or who was our friend?
So,
Donna fiddles with their bracelet.
so what is this whole? What is this Demon King, like, about anyway?
That's actually a very interesting topic. I've tried to pick up on some notes along the way. It's more of a title that's given to individuals of interest over the years. It's not just one person. It's almost a passing of a so-called torch. And in some cases, not because one person passes it to another, but just because this individual of great magnanimous power that can change things begins to appear in the world. And that power frightens people, to say the least.
So they give that fear a name then?
Sometimes they claim it for themselves. I'm not sure in Tetson's case. But I do know that word is spreading fast.
In your time here without us, is there anyone that you've come to trust? Anyone that we can consider reliable?
On land, no. If we need transportation from continent to continent, I can get a safe passage easy. Like I said, I've been serving sentence on the open ocean for 5 years, and most of the crews and crewmates that I've served with are bound to the sea as well. Not to mention...
Sorry.
No, it's a bit hard to tell. Maybe that's another story for another time. Anyways,
Getting story
Yeah.
straight.
I can't really get too much support, at least from the land.
Okay.
Then maybe we start here.
Yeah. One step at a time.
Yeah.
The hunter,
From
they were the first one
Yes.
to mention it, talking about spreading word. No, I'm mixing things up. Have you talked to anyone here about it? The Demon King?
No, I've been quite fast moving in this general direction, heading towards the Lonely Peak. Francisco and I kind of got lost along the way, unfortunately, heading south. But no, I haven't brought it up. From my understanding, Refnel doesn't get too many visitors, as Halna and Nadia said, so information doesn't spread too quick. And because I was only in town in Blue Horizon for maybe two-ish days, I didn't get enough time to get information. I'm mostly trying to get us back to a place where we can actually get information as quick as possible, and to make sure that you're all safe while you get the hang of everything.
All right.
Do you know what Tetson's done to deserve this title? Like, I'm sorry,
The-
just Demon King is it's a very loaded title.
It is. To my understanding, and I don't know the granular details, but however, whenever Tetson got here, and from there in the wake of time, they've become immensely powerful. Whether that was in a similar vein to the abilities that you all shown earlier this morn, or if it was through Tetson's own volition. but other than that, I'm not 100% sure. Emma, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Can I just get a quick check? The individual that you had mentioned to me previously who was like doling out power, that was a different individual, correct?
Nope.
Oh,
That's
same person?
Tetsun.
Oh, that's Tetsun?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do know that. Okay, cool. I just wanted to clarify then. From what I've heard from some individuals at sea, some individuals at port, and it's kind of honestly all over the place, is that there's a belief that Tetsun is the progenitor to some form of plague. It's strange, but that's for those who have negative light of this individual. The reason why is that Tetsun supposedly can bless land, and so I believe Tetsun has started to do something along the lines of brokering deals and alliances for places that are in pain and trouble, leveraging Tetsun's own position with their capabilities. And so people who are in opposition to Tetsun, and who own a lot of the communication channels of the continents, have started to displace information around Tetsun being the one who started this blight, this plague in the first place.
Then perhaps it's
That
just
doesn't sound like him.
Yeah, it sounds like a rumor. Not necessarily anything true.
As you sit there contemplating amongst yourselves, wondering who the Demon King is, what he's doing, you suddenly hear footsteps once again heading back towards the room. And coming from the back door steps Hala. She has like a few large mugs of water and just kind of places them down onto the bar itself, and then reaches below and starts pouring a couple of mugs of the ale from just these kegs that are under the bar, and kind of places them. Okay, well, there we go.
Thank you. Madonna like pours himself a glass and just chugs it down. They didn't realize how thirsty. Well, I think definitely a case of like they take a sip and then they realize how good the water tastes because of how thirsty they are, and they just chug the rest of the glass.
Yeah. As you're all finally getting some sustenance in you and finally sitting and resting, Fabula Ultima has a system called bonds. And every time you have like a campfire scene or a rest scene, you can establish new bonds. And since this is like the first time you're really getting to rest in this world for a while, we're going to take this time to create some bonds. Every time you campfire or rest, you can create a new bond. You can have up to 3. And if you're kind of done with one, you can replace it and put a new bond in. But starting this game, all of you had 0 bonds. And now we're going to create some. So when you create a bond, you name a person that you have this bond with, and you say whether it's a admiration or like inferiority relationship, if you're loyal to that person or if you mistrust them, if you're extremely affectionate towards that person or you really hate them. You choose one of these 6 options, and then over time you can strengthen that bond, and you can use Fabula points in combat or in checks where you can invoke that bond to get bonuses to your rolls. So let's go around, and as you're all finally getting some sustenance and talking amongst each other and resting and sitting down, who are you bonded to? Let's start with Sinclair.
I think in this case, Sinclair is going to have an admiration bond to Adana. I think because they're not comfortable at all in this place, but she's doing the damn thing and just trying its best. And I think the fact that they got such a grip of their kind of abilities right kind of off the get-go when we're in combat, I think there's a lot that Sinclair admires about them.
I love that. Go ahead and note it down on your character sheet.
Done.
It has a bond strength of 1. So next up, let's popcorn it over to Adana.
Yeah. I guess I know who I want to have a bond with, but what the bond is, I guess, will depend on a thing. Because is it Hala? I think Adana's gonna ask Hala about their hands. They're gonna ask them like, I don't understand what's happening. It looks wrong. It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't look right. And I thought it was maybe frostbite, but I think frostbite should hurt. So I just needed someone. Can you look over it, please?
Oh, yeah, here, let me look. And she takes your hand, and now we haven't had this explicit conversation, or if we did, it was a very long time ago.
Yes.
I, as the GM, do not ascribe your hand to your landmark.
That's correct.
Stuff. It is the separate thing, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So she looks at your hand and is studying it and sees very notably that you are Laymark as well, and sees your lay, and appears to be like semi-familiar. Well, this isn't frostbite, so you don't have to worry. This isn't a medical condition of any sort. But this also isn't connected to your lay. This is something else. Have you had any strange run-ins with magic lately?
There's I don't think Adana can hide their expression. They look more panicked than they were previously, and they just kind of say, yes, yes. It was, I think, I don't know how to explain how it was strange, but it was strange.
Okay, well, I mean, that's likely your culprit. It wasn't like this before, was it?
Adana, she does not know what to say because they know they don't want to reveal too much. But all of the answers probably aren't going to be helpful here. But they just say, no, it wasn't like this. My hand wasn't like this before.
Yeah, well, this isn't going to kill you. You're not going to lose your hand or anything by the looks of it. Whatever magical event happened that you aren't too keen on talking on seems to have imbued you in some way.
Okay. Is there a way to undo imbuement?
That's beyond me. I know there's a magical university somewhere, I think, near the Empire, and they might have some answers for you, or you might come across somebody with more magical knowledge than me, but I'm very baseline magic knowledge. I don't know too much.
No, this was helpful. Thank you. And I think, God, I can't decide now because I think admiration and inferiority both apply in this case. But I think I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go inferiority.
Okay.
They feel more at ease, but I think they definitely like a slight sense of awkwardness and a little bit of embarrassment. of like being like, is it a frostbite? And they're being like, it's okay, dear, it's not frostbite. Like there is a level, there's a level of embarrassment. So I think I'm gonna go with a sense of inferiority towards Hala.
Valid. Okay, well, mark that down. It's got a bond strength of 1. Next up, let's head over to Cielo.
Yeah, I am going to have a bond of admiration in the direction of Lovelace. I think knowing all about or hearing all about Lovelace's adventures kind of makes Cielo get wide-eyed and excited about what could be coming next. What she could experience, what she could learn about herself. It's very much like cool older cousin vibes of wow, you did, and then you did what next? That's kind of the position we're in at this moment in time.
Love it. We'll mark that down. Bond strength 1. Viscera.
Okay. I'm very torn. It's kind of the same reason for 2 different people, but just to... We'll go with the most obvious one. I'm going to choose admiration towards Adana. And it isn't true admiration. It's an appreciation for their usefulness. Because of the combat.
How toxic that is.
I'm not playing a good person. I hope that's abundantly clear by now. Yes, the display of power in our little scrap is something that is lingering on Viscera's mind. And that makes them feel a little closer to Adana because they feel a sense of appreciation towards that power, and perhaps it can help protect them if things get a bit hard or difficult.
Love it. And Loveless.
This is tough. I don't know if I have. Damn. Okay, I have a serious one, and then I have a funny one.
Yeah, so you've been here a while as well. So just to state the obvious, your bond does not have to be somebody present in the scene.
Oh, but I guess my question is when this is just a mechanical question, is that when you're developing these bonds during a campfire scene, does the person in question have to be mentioned, or can I be thinking about the character?
You can just be thinking about them, absolutely.
And then secondary question is if you want to have, it is only 1 bond per rest, or are there a little bit of GM?
I'll GM let you have 2 because you've existed for a long time and we just never talked about it before.
Oh, I was gonna be like a group dad thing and be like, I want to have 1 for all of them because I'm loyal to
no,
all
because
of
you
them,
can only
but...
have up to 3 anyway.
Oh, really? I think I have...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have to pick and choose your favorites.
All right, well then, for right now, because I need to understand how they feel about their entire situation, it's only been 6 hours, and with acceptance from the GM, I will have a bond to Francisco the Aedra.
What a curveball! Not what I was expecting. Okay.
Because we've been traveling on the road.
1 goes to the cat.
We've been traveling on the road together for a long time. So I have a bond of loyalty to the Aedra. Francisco is our trusty steed for now, until we return Francisco home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my second bond will be with Ariette. And that will be of Actually, let me double check what the actual things are. Apologies. Oh, sheet.
Loyalty, maybe?
Actually, I'm going to choose inferiority.
Oh, okay.
but we will not talk about that subject.
We won't talk about that because nobody knows who that character is.
Hell yeah.
Spill the tea.
No, no tea, no tea.
Fine.
Okay. All right. So you all sitting together with one another, talking, asking Hala about weird hands and frostbite and medical conditions. You all finally have this moment of rest before Hala promises that as the night turns, more people will be coming into this tavern and you'll be meeting the town and things will be much crazier. As you all sit there drinking, eating rations, maybe eating some food that Hala brings out, our scene kind of zones out. We hear a knock at the door. We find ourselves in a large office with a windowed wall providing an abundance of light to the room. Various bookshelves run along the length of the room filled with novels, studies, and various records. A small man sits behind a large desk with a quill and ink, reading over various contracts and signing or correcting them where necessary. Avalost, Guildmaster of Rearguard and council member of the Adventurers Union, casually corrects his short white hair and pushes up his squared glasses as he sits back in his chair. Come in, Crichton. A mature woman with tan skin, dark red hair, and circular glasses enters the room wearing fine and light clothing with a variety of colors, bringing the patterns to life. Various scars decorate her neck and arms, and she wears them like a badge of honor. Avalost, I appreciate you meeting with me. Avalost gestures towards one of the padded chairs in front of his desk. Of course, it's rare for you to call a meeting, so I assumed this was important. Does the hall fare well? Crichton walks forward and stands next to the chair, but doesn't sit. Yes, the guild hall is well. The people are happy, trade is flowing. I'm here on more personal business, however. Avalost sighs knowingly. I was afraid you might be. How can I help? Crichton rhythmically taps her fingers across the back of the chair. You know as well as I that I can't put in a job request as a member of a guild. But I also know that you've paid citizens before to request jobs to be done that you have a more personal interest in. I need you to use one of those contacts for me. I've used them before, yes, but they aren't always cheap. You need someone who isn't going to report our guild for shady business practices and who has a reputable background. Why can't you ask your sister-in-law? She's a private citizen, the widow of a noble tradesman. It should work out well. Her fingers stop tapping. No, I don't want to involve Elsie and Nez. They're going through enough as it is, and they don't need to know that I'm doing this. Families should face the hard times together, even if they aren't pretty. What's the harm of them knowing you're after a little revenge? Ovo, you fucking owe me this. Oh, I do? Yes, you fucking do. I've worked for this guild for practically 20 years now. I've helped you build our reputation, and I keep your guild hall in line. I've hardly asked for anything, but I'm asking you for this one thing now. I'll even pay for the fucking cost. I just need your contacts. You know I don't agree with these sorts of revenge quests. They never end up being worth it. Crichton stares daggers at Avalost. It's fucking worth it to me. He sighs. Fine. I'll find someone and set up an introduction. Killing the person who killed your brother isn't going to bring you any peace, though. I don't give a shit about my peace. I just want to make sure their life has none. Crichton turns and walks out of the room as Avalost sighs in defeat. opening a drawer in his desk to begin looking through some other papers. The scene fades to black. And that's where we're going to end our session.
Woo!
Hey, yo.
So for a second villain scene, you all get another Fabula point. But
Ooh.
go ahead and take us through our closing ceremony, Stella.
Very well. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you for everyone in support of the chat and who has helped us in our social media platforms, as well as everyone who is watching this on YouTube. We're going to wrap things up by going around the table. Please tell me who you are, where we can find you, and tell us about your favorite part of today's episode. And we are going to start off with Drac.
Hi, I'm Drac or Draconics, and I played Adana today. Adana Marseille, just Adana Marseille. You can find me on Twitter at Draconics, that's DRAKONIQUES. I'm also on other socials, but Twitter for the majority of the time. I'm in a bunch of actual plays or behind the scenes of them. Some that I would definitely want to shout out is Stormforge every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern over on Captain Robear's channel. We play on a D&D or heavily modified D&D campaign. So if you want to check that out, please do. I'm also the producer and editor, one of the editors of Beyond the Brook, which is another show that you'll be seeing tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's an over the garden wall inspired actual play, and we have an incredible cast. One of them is here, in fact, Stella. And you're gonna absolutely love the people on it. It's incredible. If you haven't caught up, you should, but honestly, you also don't really need to, because for the most part, they're pre-episodic. But we're coming back with chapter 6, The Witch, tomorrow, and you're not gonna want to miss that. It got intense. But yeah, I'm gonna throw it over to Alex.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. My name's Alex. You can catch me on social media that I don't use, but I should, for multiple reasons, at Ghost Chicken RPG. Things I do in the space. I've run games before on some streams from time to time. I work in testing of games, so I'm really big into game design there. And I'm working on a system that is slowly and surely being developed with historical accuracy as I push into 2024. And it might have to do with my special interest of pirates. So we'll see where that turns out in 2024. But once again, super excited for that. And I'm going to pass it over to Liv.
I've been Liv. I also have social media that I basically ignore, except it's really useful to figuring out where I'm going to be next. Been a lot of fun. Super excited to keep playing with y'all here. And if you want to see me do more things, a great place to do so would be Under the Table. Under the Table is Total Party Chill's indie showcase game. We are coming back with a new season, a new show, this Monday, which will be very exciting. It is a show that's going to be near and dear to my heart. If you know anything about me, one, I have a lot of pride from my hometown, Bay Area, California, right outside Oakland, baby. And also, I fucking love magical girls, okay? Magical girls, magical guys, magical pals. So, that's all you get. If you want to know more, you should come and check it out. But you know it's going to be a good time.
Thank you very much. We'll pop on over to Piper.
Hi everyone, it's me, Piper. And I have been Sinclair for this evening. If you want to find me on socials, it is Maddie Matihi on Twitter, that I barely use as well. But if you want to watch other stuff that I'm in, I'm currently in a game that I run called What We Do in the Shallows, which is a queer pirate adventure over on my channel bi-weekly on Saturdays. It is very gay and very full of romance and kissing. It's great. And yeah, that's where you can find me, and I will pop back to Stella.
Thank you. I'm Stella Luna TV on all other social media. You can find me all over the internet. I'm a TTRPG producer and performer. I do pretty much this all the time. You can also find me over on Table Story on Mondays playing in a Pathfinder 2e game called Gatewalkers, where I play an orc emissary thaumaturge, which is really, really fun. I'm going to pass it on over to Emma before we wave and say goodbye.
Hi, it's me, Emma, also known as Emma Panada. Thank you all so much for hanging out and being with us for our second session of Our Lives After. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you had a good time. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Emma Panada. I don't really stream, and I don't post on Twitter anymore, really. So, but that's where you can find me there. I'm also writing a TTRPG called All the Witches. You can find information about that at allthewitches_ on twitter.com. Special shout out to our region map artist, Marco Maps. He just posted a new map that he just finished on Twitter and tagged us in it, and I retweeted it. You can check it out. But his uncle passed away a few weeks ago, and he's been really struggling with that, and working on that map has been like some therapy for him, and he has a really like beautiful tweet talking about that, and just talking about like that whole process and the map and the story, and it's just really beautiful. And I would really encourage you to go and support them and just show them some love. But yeah, thank you all so much. I appreciate and love all of you, and goodbye forever.
We will be back on Thursday, February 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for episode 3. So please join us for that game. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Bye.